Sticking to the back roads has been a necessity for me from a logistical perspective, but has been a gift from an aesthetic one. It might add an hour or 3 onto my trip, but it is so worth the extra time to see and enjoy my surroundings, to observe life happening at a different pace and in real, tangible increments as I stop for gas or food and interact with locals. Steinbeck also wrote of a stop in a roadside restaurant and described their quirks of language and communication. He noted it was a German restaurant, though their commitment to authenticity was waning. As I've passed through the different regions of the country, I have noticed the remnants of those who were fundamental in the shaping of these areas, in the dialects and accents, in the signature cuisine or other things they are known for. Whether it's the robust and hearty way of living, eating, and speaking you find in the upper Midwest descended from German stock, the fiery and supple style of those with Italian heritage, the pragmatic and subtly passionate finesse of the British influence, the vibrant and driven nature of Latino culture, the earthy and resilient way of the African, the intentional and connected existence of the First Nations people, and the diligence and industriousness of Asians. They all have left an imprint that may be fading, but is still evident. I do not mean to reduce these groups or their significance to a couple of adjectives, but these are some of the sensations evoked when I observe the distinct cultures that have held some sense of identity as we blend into a melting pot, forming a different kind of group. As I've traveled, we, as a nation, have progressed into the heart of the campaign season, and our division is showing. I find the timing interesting because Steinbeck took his road trip in the midst of the Kennedy-Nixon election. He was hoping to get a beat on where people stood politically. What he found was that it wasn't something people wanted to discuss. He shares his interaction with one man in New Hampshire. He asked, "How does the election seem to be going around here?" The man responds, "I wish I knew. People aren't talking. People just won't put out an opinion." Steinbeck notes this was what he found all over the country. No arguments, no discussion. While we have no discussions anymore, we do have a lot of arguments in this arena. It's ironic how much the pendulum seems to have swung in this regard, while so many of our concerns remain the same as what he recorded in 1960. We still put the safety and well-being of our families above all other concerns. We still worry about the economy and our national security. The Russians are still a trigger point, and immigration was as much a question to be addressed then as it is today. For all of the growth and expansion Steinbeck saw from the Great Depression to the 60s, and all we have seen since, we still wrestle with the same fundamental issues, still have the same basic priorities, and we're still failing to communicate our needs and desires in an effective way. Steinbeck summarizes his observations this way: Americans, as I saw them and talked to them, were indeed individuals, each one different from the others. But gradually I began to feel that the Americans exist, that they really do have generalized characteristics regardless of their states, their social and financial status, their education, their religions, and their political convictions. But if there is indeed an American image built of truth rather than reflecting either hostility or wishful thinking, what is this image? What does it look like? What does it do? Those seem to be the questions we must answer as we move forward. My reflections took a different path than I expected, but I do think they are fitting. The client I visited in Minnesota is one with whom I have an eternally fascinating relationship. We are quite different in our political leanings. We've been working on a novel series for 6 years now and have had impassioned debates over a variety of issues raised in these stories. We discuss the myriad of points and counterpoints to consider around a topic. Sometimes one of us moves closer to the other's perspective as new insights or new information are discovered. Sometimes we agree to disagree and default to what best serves the story. My point is that you can engage with your ideological opponents in a way that does not devolve into fisticuffs or division. It's why Steinbeck sought to meet America again. It's why I'm on the road now. But you don't have to circumnavigate the country in a camper to achieve that. All you have to do is be willing to listen without interrupting, hear without judgment, and then speak with compassion.